Well then, week 2 is in the books. I have no idea what I just watched. Absolute chaos, but we're bringing you our power rankings, and number 1 is going to shock y'all, so stick around till the end. What up, everybody? It's the Rottweiler Patriots. I'm Vegas.
And I'm T-Bone.
And welcome, everybody, to our Week 3 Power Rankings video. Every single week, we say who we think are the top 10 teams in the NFL, talk about them a little bit, share what we like about them, and at the end of every single Power Rankings video, we will have our Puppy of the Week segment, so stick around till the end if you want to see that. Also stick around to the end to see who our number 1 team is, because it will absolutely shock you this week. Anyways, if you do want to see your dogs featured on the channel in our Puppy of the Week segment, again, at the end of Power Rankings video every week, usually Wednesday around 4 p.m. Eastern Time, be sure to fill out the form. Link is posted down in the description. We'll also add a pinned comment to the video. Now, with that out of the way, let us jump into our top 10 teams in the NFL. Number 10 is going to be the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings coming off of an upset victory over the San Francisco 49ers to improve to an unlikely 2-0 after starting quarterback J.J. McCarthy goes down. Sam Darnold having the best start to a year of his career, looking for a resurgence over in Minnesota, hit Justin Jefferson for a 97-yard touchdown pass. Absolutely insane. The Vikings, with 2 wins to start the year, beating a very good San Francisco team here in week 2. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I actually think that his best start was when he went 3-0 with the Panthers, but that's just me. Sam Darnold's doing what he needs to do. He can swing a ball. He's pretty athletic for how unathletic he looks. And yeah, I mean, he's just doing what he needs to do, and Justin Jefferson's doing the rest. So they have worked their way up to this spot because no one else has earned it.
Absolutely. Everyone expected it to be a train wreck down in Minnesota, but they've started really, really strong. And while the 49ers definitely had a few injuries that advantaged Minnesota here, they're still a very tough squad to beat even without Samuel and McCaffrey. And Minnesota able to get the job done, so credit to them. They're in the top 10. Alrighty, the number 9 team in the NFL is the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks coming off of a tight overtime win over the New England Patriots. Maybe a bit of controversy with the pass interference calls in that one, but regardless, Seattle looks like a very good team. Defense has played strong. Geno Smith was absolutely clinical against New England. Over 300 passing yards. Just sliced and diced them completely. Some concerns about the running game. Obviously, Kenneth Walker still out with injury, so we'll see how that improves when he gets back. But so far, Seattle looked like a really solid squad early on. T-Bone, your thoughts?
They look like they're back in 2022 form, so I'm very much pleased and looking forward to what they have to do further in the weeks, because they really are just being a very smart coached team, so I'm very excited.
Mike McDonald has clearly got his boys in check, and watching the game against the Patriots, the Patriots played very intelligent football, but so did the Seattle Seahawks. I thought it was a great coaching battle, a great defensive battle. The Seahawks come out on top, and, 3-2, they've looked very good. Alrighty, our number 8 team in the NFL is the Houston Texans. Texans coming off of a bit of an ugly one over the Chicago Bears, but they are able to get the job done and improve to 2-0. Some concerns for Houston in that game, but still a very solid squad, still going to be very difficult to beat. And, I mean, they got a lot on offense, they got a solid defense, they're well coached, so going to be still a great team. T-Bone, your thoughts?
The Texans honestly have not looked as great as I imagined them to this year, but that doesn't stop them from still looking good. They're still looking good. They're just not as good as we thought. So that's why they're still on the list. They're just not as high.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're only 2 weeks into the season, and it's going to take a lot of teams to figure out their identity and how good they really are, and it's why you see the power rankings already have changed a lot since last week, and gonna be a few more changes here as you're gonna find out real soon. But I mean, it really does take a month, 4 to 8 weeks, 1 to 2 months for teams to really figure out their identity, get in their groove, and show what kind of team are we really going to be. So it could just be that Houston's still struggling and they're going to finish much higher up when it's all said and done. But right now they've looked a little less like themselves. Alrighty, the number 7 team in the NFL is the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners, coming off of an upset loss to the Minnesota Vikings. Tough day for them there. Obviously, it's tough without Christian McCaffrey and without Deebo Samuel, who are both going to be out for an extended period of time at this point. Still not sure exactly when it's going to be back, but it's at minimum a few weeks for both. So, some questions there. They still have some good offensive weapons. Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. Johnson's been solid in the run game. But a few questions asked of them by the Minnesota Vikings. T-Bone, your thoughts?
If I'm being honest, I know that they'll be better later in the season. They're just on a kind of an injury kick. But, I mean, it was kind of shocking. So I assume they might drop a little bit and then rise again. But, I mean, they're still the San Francisco 49ers. So they're still at 7. They're not out of the top 10, but they've just dropped.
Niners are still a good football team. Obviously, the injury bug can hit. The few games that they lost last year largely came during a spell where they had injury issues, and it seems that might be the case again this year. But if they can get healthy, they're going to soar back towards the top of this list. I mean, they're still a darn good football team, even without some of their best guys. Just goes to show the depth. Alrighty, the number 6 team in the NFL is the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens coming off of a tough upset loss to the Las Vegas Raiders, in which they had a 10-point lead late in the game and blew it, end up falling to Vegas. Obviously, the Ravens are going to want to improve. Surprising for them to have an 0-2 start, and it's definitely interesting having an 0-2 team at number 6 in the power rankings, but they are still a good football team, and I think the early season jitters are going to start to leave them at this point. They're going to see that that loss in Vegas as a wake-up call, and I think they're going to come out strong next week. Regardless, they're still an extremely well-built football team. T-Bone, your thoughts?
They're an extremely well-built football team. They've got a solid coaching squad, solid players. It's just, they just have one of those weeks. They'll probably be, similar to the San Francisco 49ers. They might drop a little bit. They might rise a little bit, but they're still going to be around the top 10, so they're doing their thing.
Yeah, Baltimore, I think, will be fine. I think this week was an anomaly. It gives them stuff to work on. I think they've shown a lot of promise so far this year. Just hasn't worked out in either game. Obviously, game 1 at Kansas City. Kansas City is a tough team to beat. So, especially when they also have the refs on their side. But regardless, Baltimore, solid team. And I expect them to bounce back next week. Alrighty! Moving on to the number 5 team in the NFL. You've got the New Orleans Saints. Saints coming off an absolute dismembering of the Dallas Cowboys after doing the exact same thing to the Carolina Panthers the week before. Just an utter humiliation of Dallas. So far, 15 drives for Derek Carr on offense, 15 scores. Every single drive has resulted in a score of some sort for the Saints when Derek Carr is on offense. And the defense has done a solid job, too, limiting points. Only 29 points through 2 games. If they can maintain that 14.5 points per game and produce even half the offense that they have been, they're going to be a really tough team to beat. T-Bone, your thoughts?
They are really surprising me and you and everyone else, I should say, this NFL season. I mean, I wasn't as low on them as you were, but you were pretty low on the Saints. And
I was pretty low. They didn't look good last year, and they didn't look like they made enough convincing changes this year, but it's very clear that the change of adding Clint Kubiak as offensive coordinator has seriously bolstered this team. He's using what he has very, very well, and he has Derek Carr looking like his old self again. Alrighty, our number 4 team in the NFL is the Detroit Lions. The Lions, coming off of a tough loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in which they were not able to capitalize on their opportunities in the red zone, and a mistake with a substitution at the end of the first half cost them a field goal opportunity as well. Detroit played well against Tampa Bay in general, and actually did a decent job of making it difficult for Tampa to put points on the board, but their own little mistakes in the game and offensive failures, inability to capitalize on the chances they had, cost them this one. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Really, I mean, they just have a few things to clean up, but they're still great. I mean, I still think that they're going to do great things this season. You know, just an unlucky game early on. Can't do nothing about that, but no, they're going to be just fine.
Absolutely. The great thing about what has happened with Detroit is those mistakes are fixable. It's up to them to fix it, obviously. If they keep doing it as the season goes on, then it's a problem. But if they can clean up those mistakes and work on those operational issues, they'll be really, really scary. And again, it's only week 2. This is when you expect these issues. If you see these issues in the playoffs, then there's a whole other problem. See the Dallas Cowboys. But this is week 2. I think Detroit will figure out their problems, and they'll bounce back and move forward. Alrighty, the number 3 team in the NFL making their debut on this list this season. You've got the Buffalo Bills. The Bills off to a really solid start, coming off of an absolute murder of the Miami Dolphins on Thursday Night Football. The offense looks like a well-oiled machine. The defense able to stop generally a pretty dynamic Miami attack. Obviously, Miami's actually had some early season struggles. Had a tough time against Jacksonville scoring, so we'll see if that's a Miami thing or a Buffalo thing. Miami only putting up 10 points. But regardless, the Buffalo offense looks excellent. Josh Allen, incredible. Still no turnovers. One of only 2 quarterbacks with no turnovers. The other, New England Patriots quarterback Jacoby Brissett. But regardless, great start for the Buffalo Bills, and they're looking to keep pounding. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I mean, I'm really excited because I expected, losing the wide receiver 1 and sort of phasing out
and
Dawson Knox.
And
2, yeah, 1 and 2, and phasing out Dawson Knox and several other things, that they would just take a step back. But James Cook is really coming to his own, and Josh Allen's doing good work. So, I mean, and the defense is actually looking better than I think it was last year. So I'm very much impressed and think they deserve this high spot.
Absolutely. Buffalo, we had some questions after week 1. It was, is their defense going to be able to be good? They struggled against Arizona. And then Arizona turns out to be a pretty good team. They didn't miss this list by much. They've executed well on offense. And, so far the Buffalo Bills have actually done a pretty solid job, I think, on defense, all things considered. You see how close it was. One of those was a special teams touchdown for the Cardinals. So in reality, Bills allowed less points than the Cardinals put up on defense. And Buffalo, really good start to the year, and they're in a good position to spearhead their division. Alrighty, the number 2 team in the NFL is the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs, coming off of a tight win over the Cincinnati Bengals, which, quite frankly, Patrick Mahomes did not look like he had his best game. 3 interceptions against the Bengals. But in the end, able to get the job done. A last-second Harrison Butker field goal. Everyone is complaining about the refs, and we are definitely ones who've talked about officiating issues with Kansas City. Now, I can't speak for the rest of the game. Obviously, there was your usual missed offensive holds and whatnot. But I actually would think the pass interference at the end of the game was the correct call. You got to be smarter than that. If you're the Cincinnati corner, you can't run into a guy's back before the ball gets there. I know it's bang bang, but it's the right call. It's unfortunate, but it's enough for the Chiefs to find a way to get the win. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I absolutely think that it was the worst call. Just horrible. Worst call I've ever seen ever. No, not the worst call ever, but it wasn't great. It wasn't awesome.
Hey,
honestly,
here's what I will say. If we're going to hate on the refs for helping the Chiefs, let's actually hate on bad calls. I don't think that was a bad call.
I don't think you see what we see is the problem. You see what you want to see. That's your problem, Davis.
Yeah. I'm always looking for the refs helping the Chiefs. It helps my argument, especially as a Patriots fan who doesn't want them to three-peat and become like a bigger dynasty than us.
They won't be. They won't be because every single win that they've had the past 2 times has been from questionable officiating. Like that's not. It's wild. It's insane. But if I'm being honest here, I've just been unimpressed. They've still looked solid on all sides of the ball, which is, that's a big telltale sign for me on why you should be high up on this list. Is if you can show excellence on all 3 sides, but that doesn't change the fact that I've just been unimpressed. They honestly don't deserve to be in the number 1 spot, in my personal opinion.
If I'm being completely honest, I haven't been the most impressed with a lot of teams in the NFL this year. Obviously, it's early season. I think the other thing, too, is right now the defense, the evolution of the game has currently favored the defense, and the offense has not found a way to rebound. In fact, it actually looks like, we saw the defense have a big rebound last year after 2022 featured some high-octane offense. It actually looks like the defense may even taking a bigger bite this year. Obviously, it's still super-duper early in the season, and a lot of teams have a lot to figure out, a lot to change, a lot to get better. I think around Week 8, Week 9 is when you'll really know how good everyone is. But regardless, a little bit of early season trouble for Kansas City, but they're still a loaded team, still back-to-back champs, and so they deserve to be high on this list. And finally, coming in at number 1, you've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay, coming off of, at the time, was an upset win over the Detroit Lions. Only time will really tell, but Baker Mayfield is an absolute machine. So far this year, he's looked like the best quarterback in the NFL at this point in the season. Rashad White is running the ball really, really well. Evans and Godwin both playing great football. The defense has done an excellent job, able to contain Detroit numerous times after Detroit reached the red zone. And overall, Tampa Bay has just done an excellent job on all sides of the ball. They've played great football, and that's why we have them at number 1 on this list. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I was the big spearhead for this one. I spearheaded the operation of having Tampa Bay be so high. But no, I am going by this season and this season alone and how they've done. They've done pretty freaking well, I'd say. They did a pretty solid bit of stuff. So, I mean, you see the offense is solid, the defense is solid, all of it's pretty good. So yeah, no, they've earned this spot for me.
Absolutely. Tampa Bay has just looked like an excellent football team early in the season. They have taken their playoff form from last year where they dismantled the Philadelphia Eagles and played the Detroit Lions to within an inch of their lives, and they've taken that and they've improved from it on the early part of the season. And if you can come into the early part of the season playing this good, and if you can maintain this level of play as the year goes on, that's incredible. They have a good early advantage. Let's see if they're able to capitalize it moving forward. But so far, Tampa has looked like the best team in the NFL through 2 weeks. Alrighty, there you have it. That is our top 10 teams in the NFL. Certainly a few surprises on this list after an utterly chaotic week 2. But in the end, Tampa Bay comes out on top. Now, we are going to move on to our Puppy of the Week segment. So, this week's Puppy of the Week is Fletcher. Meet Fletcher, everybody. Apologies for the poor photo quality. This was what was submitted to us, so this is what we got to work with. But Fletcher, very cute dog, is a black lab mutt. So black Labrador, but a mutt, and you can kind of see the characteristics in there. Fletcher's such a cute pupper. She absolutely loves the water. There was one time where she jumped in the pool and she just kept swimming back and forth from end to end, doing laps almost, and looked really, really cute doing it. And then when she was at the beach, she would run all the way down to the water, all the way back, and just back and forth, and was always super excited to get in the water. So Fletcher, the black lab mutt, loves, loves, loves the water. Doesn't care if it's pool or beach. So there you have it, Puppy of the Week. T-Bone, your thoughts?
What a cute dog. What a cute, cute dog. I've always liked dogs that like to play in the water.
I know our family's dogs love, love, love the water. And let's look at another cute photo of Fletcher. This one's a little tougher to see because of the black background. Looks like a black blanket or something. But here's another really cool photo of Fletcher. So there you have it, folks. There's your Puppy of the Week. Everyone give kisses to Fletcher. And that is going to wrap things up for us today. Please be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Feel free to drop your own top 10 or anything else. You would love to hear what you all have to say. And that is going to do it for us today. Thank you all so very much for watching. Please be sure to hit the like button. Please be sure to subscribe. And we will see you all in the next video.